Assalamu alaikum students, again to the Assam Public Academy Campus 5, and today we will be actually doing a revision of our literature chapter, that is the Merchant of Venice, because as you all know that you have a monthly test, so definitely it's better to revise it first because it was a very long chapter and you have done it in many pauses. So we will be revising it today. We'll be, if you have any questions, any concerns regarding the chapter, you can always ask me, because today I'll be completing the whole chapter again with you, so just to have a review of it. And make sure that if there is any concern, any query, any question that you have, either you ask me now or you can ask me in the Google Classroom chat box. But please make sure that all your concerns go away by the time we have completed the review today, okay? And make sure that you follow all the minute details that I'm telling you today, because definitely the monthly test will be coming from the minute details, the little important details that I believe you might have missed or you might not have followed. So make sure you just follow all the instructions and you follow all what I'm telling you today, okay? Got it? So let's begin the lesson. Okay. So we are revising The Merchant of Venice today, okay? You all know it was written by William Shakespeare and it is one of the most performed plays of Shakespeare as it was written. So do you remember the characters? Because there are many characters in this play. Some of them are the major or the main characters who hold the main position in the play, whereas some of them are the extra or the supporting cast, what you call, who have little to do, but their roles definitely are more important. So definitely you need to know all the characters. Once you are doing a play or when you are reading any text from anywhere, you need to know the characters first, because if you don't know the characters, then first of all you can't do the RTCs, because sometimes some important but very some small but important things are said by people who hold a very small character in the play. But definitely what happens is that when you don't know, when you haven't read the text well, when you don't know the people, then it becomes a problem. Okay, Abdul Rahman, dear, there is something wrong with your headphones probably, because I have seen that every time you have a problem that you can't hear me. I wonder why, because rest of the students can hear me. So either you turn up the volume of your microphones or something better, because then you will be able to hear me more clearly, I think. Okay, so do you remember the characters? Who are the characters? Who is the main character of this novel? Who is the merchant? Who are we talking about in the whole play? The Merchant of Venice. Who was that one merchant? Hmm? You all remember? Okay, so I'm giving you a review today of the whole lesson. So I believe after completing this, my the yes, Shylock is not the merchant. He's the money lender. Beta, there is a difference between the merchant and the money lender. Merchant is a person who does trade, and the money lender is a person who only gives money or who lends money to other people, and he charges interest or not, that is up to him. But definitely he is not a Shylock is a money lender. He's not a merchant. Okay, merchant is Antonio. Okay, beta. Good. Okay, so let's begin. So let's see here. Antonio, a wealthy Venetian merchant who occasionally lends money. Now, he is not a money lender, he occasionally lends money. If somebody is in need, then he lends the money, but never charges interest. Now, this is the quality of Antonio. This is the good part about him, that he never charges interest. Since his main source of income is from the merchant ships, he is the merchant of the play's title. Okay, so basically, now you see that who is the merchant? Antonio is the merchant, and this whole play, The Merchant of Venice, actually revolves around Antonio. He is the main person around whom the whole play is going on. The whole script is designed around Antonio. Okay, he is the main person in the play. If he wasn't there, then the play could not exist. So he is the main person, and his main source of income, that is what is his profession. He is a merchant by profession, but he also lends money to people. Definitely, if he's a wealthy person, he can always lend money and help people out. Okay, the second character is Bassanio. He is a nobleman who is careless with his money. Hence, he has to borrow from Antonio so that he can show off to Portia in a style. So, what about Bassanio? Bassanio is first of all a nobleman. That means he has a dignified position, okay? But he, at the same time, he's a careless person. How is he careless? That he spends all the money that he earns. He does not save money for himself. Definitely, he was a nobleman at that time. He must be making a good amount of money, but he is not saving it. And when it comes to, buying a present for somebody whom he is in love with, he has no money, and then he's going to Antonio to borrow it so that he can show off to Portia. Because definitely remember, in the beginning, in the first chapter of this lesson, it's very clearly written over there that Bassanio had no money and he went to Antonio so that he could borrow the money. Okay, then the third character, and the most important and the most wittiest and clever character of the novel is, of the play, is Portia. So, as one of Shakespeare's most intelligent and witty heroines, she is famous for her beauty and for her wealth, and she is deeply sorrowful that she must marry only the man who chooses the correct box of three, which contains her portrait. So basically, now what do you see? That Portia is actually the most intelligent and wittiest. Witty is smart and clever. She is very smart, clever, beautiful. God has, showered all his blessings on Portia. But the only sad part about her life is that she cannot marry the person from her own choice, because she has been bound by her father that she has to marry the person who chooses the right box. And actually, she was very much worried when the two princes came and they tried their luck, because she did not want them to win because she didn't like them. So if they might have chosen the correct box, she would have been forced to marry any one of them, and she did not want to do that. But she's a faithful daughter to her father as well, because when it comes to fulfilling her dead father's wish, she is all ready for it, although she's not happy about it, but she agrees to what her father has asked her to do. Then the fourth and the important character is Shylock. Shylock is a Jewish businessman who believes that since he is a money lender, charging interest is his right. To him, it makes good business sense. So, what do we know about Shylock? The most important thing is that he's a Jew. Okay, he's not a Christian, and actually, this makes a lot of difference in those times, because at those times Christians had a superiority. So he was a Jewish businessman, and he believed that, okay, if I am a money lender, if my profession, or if by profession I am a money lender, so I can always charge interest, because that is my way of making money. In olden days, the when India and Pakistan were not separated, this was one of the businesses in that time as well, also run by the Indo-Pak people, that they used to lend money and then they used to charge the interest, and that was their way of earning. So probably Shylock was a Jewish businessman who at that time used to do this business, that he used to lend the money and he used to charge interest on it. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, the Duke of Venice. He presides as judge over the court proceedings in Shylock's claim to Antonio. So he was the Duke who was actually judging the trial of Antonio. Okay, and he was also a nice and a kind-hearted person, because remember, he told Shylock that I am not as harsh or as rude as you have been, and I don't want you to get to your needs. I'll give show mercy to you. Then we have the Prince of Morocco. He chooses the golden box. Remember, he was very much uh, proud of himself, so he said that I only deserve a golden box. Then there's the Prince of Aragon. He chooses the silver box, because he was also a proud person. So he said that gold is not that good, silver is better probably. Okay, and then we have Gratiano. Now, Gratiano plays another important character in this play. He is the light-hearted, talkative friend of Bassanio who accompanies him to Belmont, where there he falls in love with Nerissa. So basically, Gratiano holds an important character. Why? First of all, he's the friend of Bassanio. Okay. Second thing, he goes to with him to Belmont. Now, see, students, this is the mistake, common mistake you people are making, that this play is actually situated in two different cities. One is Venice and one is Belmont. Okay, Belmont is where Portia lives. Okay, where Bassanio accompanied by Gratiano, goes to meet Portia, that is Belmont, and the trial is being conducted in Venice. Basically, Antonio and Bassanio are Venetian citizens. They are the citizens of Venice, and Portia used to live in Belmont. So this is the difference you need to know between the cities. And one thing more about Gratiano, that he falls in love with Nerissa. Now, who is Nerissa? We'll see it afterwards. Okay, so Lorenzo. Lorenzo is the Christian friend of Antonio and Bassanio who marries Shylock's daughter Jessica. Now, this Christian word is very important here because this was the reason why Shylock hated him, and that was the reason why Jessica had to run away and marry him, because uh, Shylock did not agree to Jessica and Lorenzo's marriage because he was a Christian and Jessica was a Jew because her father was a Jew. So he was the Christian friend of Bassanio and he was Jessica's husband. Jessica, she is the young daughter of Shylock. She falls in love with Lorenzo. Okay, you all know this. Nerissa is Portia's maid and lawyer's clerk in disguise. So she is the person who accompanied Portia to Venice, and she was actually in disguise as the lawyer's clerk. Okay, and Dr. Bellario, last but not the least, is the lawyer who is the cousin of Portia and who gives her advice on how to defend Antonio successfully. Okay, so these are all the main on the side characters of the play. You need to know all of them because definitely I can ask a question regarding any one of them, related to any one of them. So it's important if you know the characters well. Okay, clear students, shall we move on? Okay. So far, if there is any question regarding any of the characters, please ask me right now. I don't want you people to make mistakes in the monthly test, and definitely not only the monthly test, I want you people to understand this thing well so that there are no issues. Please, I'm waiting for your answers. Ask me if there is no question, otherwise we can move on, because now I'll give you a quick summary of the whole play so that you can remember, memorize and remember all the things. Kindly let me know in the chat box if there is anything that you people haven't understand. Everything is clear, Maida, very good. Because see, all these characters have their own important places. So please ask me. Okay, now we'll be moving on to a quick synopsis of this, that what are we. Okay, very good. Everybody's prepared. Okay, Hamza Mustafa, that's good. You're prepared for the MT. I'm happy to know that. Okay, good. Okay, so let's move on, children. So, The Merchant of Venice, yeah, let's have a quick synopsis. Okay. Okay, a young Venetian, Bassanio, needs a loan of 3,000 ducats so that he can flatter Portia, a wealthy Venetian heiress. He approaches his friend Antonio, a merchant. So this is actually where the whole story begins, that a young Venetian who's Bassanio, who's a nobleman, he needs a loan of how much money? 3,000 ducats. Ducats was the currency at that time. And why does he need this money? He wants to flatter Portia, who is a young Venetian heiress. Heiress is a person who is a lady who has inherited something from her father. And for to have that money, 3,000 ducats, he approaches his friend Antonio, who is a merchant, and who is the merchant of basically Venice, the whole character, the main character of this novel. Okay. Antonio is short of money because all his wealth is invested in his fleet. Fleet is ships, okay? A company of ships where you have many ships coming along. That's a fleet together. That is a, or which noun? What do we call it? It's a noun, yeah. Okay. Which is currently at sea. He goes to a Jewish moneylender, Shylock, who hates Antonio because of Antonio's anti-Semitic behavior towards him. So basically, Antonio has a lot of money. He's a wealthy man by default, but at that in the very moment, he does not have any money because he has invested all of his money in the trade ships that are at sea right now, and he is very much sure that once his trade ships would come back, he will be again a wealthy man. But because he is not having a lot of money at that time, so he goes to the Jewish moneylender Shylock. And who is Shylock? Shylock is the person who hates Antonio because Antonio has always passed harsh comments about him, and Antonio excuse me, and Antonio has always shown an anti-Semitic. That is because you don't follow the same religion and because you don't follow the person's beliefs. So because he's charging interest and all that. So that's why Antonio doesn't like him. Okay. Shylock nevertheless agrees to make the short-term loan, but in a moment of wit, he makes a condition. The loan must be repaid in 3 months, or Shylock will get a pound of flesh from Antonio. Antonio agrees, confident that his ships will return in time. So Shylock, because he was very clever and definitely he wanted to hurt or to harm Antonio in some way or the other. Okay, one more thing I need to make clear. This is a common mistake you people have made in this class test. Antonio Shylock wanted to harm Antonio. Okay, Shylock did not want to kill Antonio. He did only wanted to harm Antonio in some way or the other. All of you have written kill, but actually kill was not his intention. He just got the opportunity to kill him. That was another thing. But basically, behind his he has always wanted to harm Antonio in some way. Killing was what he found an option. He went for it, but basically he wanted to harm Antonio. Okay, so he found he found his opportunity probably, and he said, okay, fine, I'll take a pound of flesh if you don't pay me back in time. And remember, he also said that if your ships don't come back and if they drown or if they get dragged, then what will you do? And Antonio was confident of nothing like this would happen, because he had been sending his ships for a long time. He had been a merchant since a long time, and never such kind of a thing has happened before. So he said, okay, fine, my ships would come back. You don't worry. You just give me the loan of 3,000 ducats. Okay. So, because of the terms of Portia's father's will, all suitors must choose from among three boxes, one of which contained a portrait of her. If he chooses that, he may marry Portia, but if he doesn't, he must vow never to marry or court another woman. The Prince of Morocco and Aragon failed the test and are rejected. So this is another side of the story, that what is happening. Portia, according to Portia's father's will, there are three boxes there: gold, silver, lead, and everybody who wants to marry Portia must choose from the box. And if he chooses the right box, then definitely they can have Portia and marry her. But if they choose the wrong side of box, then they must vow that they would never marry again, or court another woman means that they were ever get into a relationship with any other women. Okay, now actually this was very typical. Why did her father put this condition? Because otherwise, if he had not put this condition, then every man wanted to marry Portia, so then she would have a line of other coming people, let's try our luck. But because there was a condition that if you don't choose the right box, then you won't marry again, so many people who wanted to have her or wanted to marry her did not make an attempt, because they were cowards. They said, okay, if we don't find the correct box, then we will never be able to marry another woman as well. So he said, okay, many of the people, they didn't even give it a try. But these two brave people, the Morocco and the Aragon princess, they came forward, but still they were rejected because they chose the wrong boxes. Okay. Bassanio chooses the lead box which contains her picture, and Portia happily agrees to marry him immediately. Okay, because Portia was more than willing to marry him from before, and she wanted him to choose the right box, and definitely she did not give him any hint. But Bassanio, because definitely he's the hero of the play, so he had to choose the right box, I would say, definitely. And he was smart enough to do that. Meanwhile, two of Antonio's ships have been wrecked, and Antonio's creditors are pressuring him for repayment. Word comes to Bassanio about Antonio's trial, and he hurries back to Venice, leaving Portia, now his wife, behind. So remember that when Portia asked him to marry, then he said, okay, fine, we'll get married. And but when they were about to get married, then there was a news that, okay, there was a letter that came to Bassanio that Antonio was on trial by Shylock because he was not able to repay the loan, and Shylock has been to the court of Venice for a trial, for the judgment of his case. Okay, so he gets married to Portia, and then he hurries back to the trial of Antonio. Okay, Portia wants to help her husband and meets Dr. Bellario, who lends clothes and also gives advice on how to defend Antonio. She is accompanied by her maid Nerissa. They are disguised as the male lawyer and his clerk. So Portia, because she was a witty and a smart woman, she did not sit back at home and wait for her husband or any news about Antonio, but she rather decided that, okay, I'll go by myself and I'll see what I can do to help Antonio. And in the meantime, okay, Dr. Bellario, this thing maybe is not mentioned in your book, but actually the Duke has sent a letter to Dr. Bellario asking him to come and save Antonio, because the Duke actually did not want Antonio to die, because he knew that Antonio is a good man, and see, these things happen, but definitely cutting a pound of flesh would definitely kill him. And at the same time, Portia met him, and Portia wrote a letter to him and asked him that, okay, I'll try to be a little louder. So Portia decided that she would not sit back and she will help Antonio. And definitely, she wrote a letter to Dr. Bellario, who told her that okay, fine, you can go and you can just do say these things, and you will be able to save Antonio. Okay, and she does not go in her own clothes, or she does not go as herself, Portia, but she disguises herself. That is, she changes her appearance and she dresses up like a male lawyer. And Nerissa is the male clerk she has. Okay. Bassanio offers much more than the amount in repayment, but Shylock wants pound of flesh. So basically, Bassanio told him that I can give you 2 times, 3 times more the amount, and just get done with the trial, get over with it. But Shylock, because now he has got the opportunity to take revenge from Antonio, so he says, "No, I want my pound of flesh." Portia arrives in her disguise to defend Antonio, given the authority of judgment by the Duke. Portia decides that Shylock can have the pound of flesh. So basically, what is happening that okay. So what is happening that Portia comes forward, and when she sees the whole situation, she listens to the whole situation. She says, "Okay, Shylock, you can have your pound of flesh." And Shylock was actually very happy with this because he thought that now his dream is going to come true, and he will be able to get a pound of flesh and kill Antonio or harm Antonio. And he was actually appreciating the young lawyer that, wow, what a nice and a smart lawyer you are, and you are helping me and this and that. He actually does not know that what is Portia up to. Okay. Portia decides that Shylock can have the pound of flesh as long as he doesn't draw blood, as it is against the law to shed a Christian's blood. So basically, what happens that Shylock can have the pound of flesh, but he cannot uh, drop a single, spill a single drop of blood. Students, last time also I told you, again I'm telling you, it's not split. Split is a different word. This is spilt. Spilt. The second or the third form is spilt, and the first form is spill. Spill means to run. Okay, it's something running water or something, running blood. So basically, he cannot spill a single drop of Antonio's blood because it was against the law to shed a Christian's blood. Okay, as I told you, Christians were at a superior position at that time. Since it is obvious that to draw a pound of flesh would kill Antonio, Shylock is denied his suit. So basically, it was impossible now for Shylock to draw a pound of flesh without spilling a single drop of blood. So he denies his suit. That means the trial for which he's gone to the court, he denies it, and he says, "Okay, fine, give me my money because that is the better option." Moreover, for conspiring a murder to murder a Venetian citizen, Portia orders that he should forfeit all his wealth. Half of is to go to Venice and half to Antonio. Now remember when he told Bassanio, "Okay, fine, give me 3 times more or 2 times more my money." Then at the same time, Portia moves forward and she says, "Okay, you can't have it because recently when I asked you to take the money, you refused. And once you have refused something in front of the court, then you cannot have it again. And so now you can't have the money. And also, not only that you can't have the money, but now all of your money will be going to Venice and to Antonio, half to each one." Why? Because that is the law, that if you plan to commit a murder of a Christian person in Venice at that time, then half of your money went to the state and half of it to the person whom you have conspired against. Okay. Antonio gives his half back to Shylock on the condition that Shylock bequeaths it to his disinherited daughter, Jessica. Shylock must also convert to Christianity. Now, Antonio, he's a nice man, he's a kind hearted man. He says, "I don't want the money that you are giving me, but yeah, I would request you to give it to your daughter Jessica, whom you have disinherited." Disinherited means that he has told that I won't give her anything because she has married against my will. So she won't inherit anything from my property or from my possessions. But now he said, "Okay, you have to give my share to your daughter Jessica, and you must also convert to Christianity." And on hearing this, Shylock was completely broken. Okay, Bassanio, who does not see through Portia's disguise, thanks the young lawyer and is eventually pressured into giving Portia the ring which he had promised never to part. Remember Portia's trick, that she played a trick on her husband, and she told her, "Okay, fine, give me this ring." And he says, "No, this is not uh, very expensive thing. You can have anything else." And he was giving her all the reasons, and then she says, "Okay, fine, you just don't want to give me the ring, that's another thing, but otherwise I just want it." And then because he is so much grateful for saving Antonio's life to the lawyer, that he says, "Okay, fine, you can have it," and he hands over the ring to Portia. and he cannot see it through the disguise or through the appearance that Portia has made, that actually the male lawyer was Portia in disguise. Gratiano gives Nerissa, who is disguised as Portia's clerk, his ring, and Nerissa also manages to take Gratiano's ring, and so both the women take the rings and go back to Belmont, and then they get, dressed back into their normal clothes, and they wait for their husbands to come and see what the trick plays. The two women return to Belmont. When Bassanio and Gratiano arrive the next day, their wives accuse them of faithlessly giving their rings to other women. So this was actually the funny part, that they told their husbands that, okay, you had been uh, mm, doing all this on purpose, and you have just done all this because you wanted to give my ring to other women and all of this. Before the deception goes too far, however, Portia reveals that she was in fact the lawyer in disguise. So finally, when they're about to fight, and when Portia has accused everything, and when she sees that, okay, fine, now this thing is getting out of control, then she hands over the ring to Antonio and gives it to him and says that, okay, give it to Bassanio. And when he sees the ring, he discovers the entire truth, that, okay, this is what is it that this is what is it that the lawyer in disguise was Portia. The good news arrives that Antonio's ships have in fact made it back safely. He's a wealthy man again. The characters celebrate good fortune happily. So basically, the ending is all good for everyone. The wives and the husbands are happy about the trick and about the clever and smart Portia. Bassanio is very much happy that he has a smart wife, and Antonio is again a wealthy man. Okay, so what does the play explore? It explores the value of money. Then definitely that people should save money. They should not be like Bassanio, wasting all the money. Then the value of friendship, that, okay, friendship is very important. You should always be ready to help your friends. Antonio was actually, he laid down his life for his friendship, so friendship is actually valuable thing. Then the value of justice and the law, that no one was beyond the law in Venice. Everybody has to undergo the trial. If it was even Antonio, whether he was a very respected and a very wealthy merchant before, but because he had signed an agreement with Shylock that, okay, he will face the trial if he doesn't pay back the loan, so he faces the trial. The value of religion, that definitely everybody has the right to practice their religion, and that definitely at that time they had more value for the religion of Christianity, because this play is around the Christian religion. The value of love and marriage, that definitely everybody should be faithful in their love and marriage, and they should be actually ready to help each other regarding anything, and they should respect other relationships of their loved ones as well. Like Portia had a respect for Bassanio's friends as well. Not only that she was shrewd, or she was only, selfish about her husband, that why he's going to help her, what she actually helped Antonio. Okay, so this is what the play explores, or what the main themes of the play are. Okay, now let's have a look at the character map. Now this is actually, I want you people to study for a minute, that go through this character map. You can see that this is the how each character is related to each other. Okay, you have Portia here, who Portia, first of all, she is in love with Bassanio. Then who proposes to her? The Prince of Morocco and the Prince of Aragon. Her lady in waiting or confidant, that is the maid, is Nerissa. Now from Nerissa we move on. So Nerissa is in word with, okay, now they said Graziano also, we said Gratiano, it's the same thing, no issue, but we should say Gratiano because our book has Gratiano. Okay, in those times the names had a different spelling sometimes. Okay, okay, then Gratiano has friends with Antonio, and Bassanio also has friendship with Antonio, and Bassanio takes a debt from Shylock, and Antonio is the guarantor for Bassanio's debt. Now, what is the difference between this? That Antonio takes the guarantee that if Bassanio does not pay you back in time, then you can take my pound of flesh. Okay, this is the difference between the person who takes the debt and who is a guarantor for the debt. Okay. Then Antonio has friendship with Lorenzo, and Lorenzo is in love with Jessica. Jessica is the daughter of Shylock. So you see how this whole all the characters are related to each other. Okay, you can just go through this map once because it will help you understand the relationship between the characters well. I'm giving you a minute. Go through the map, children. Shall we move on? Is it clear to you all? Okay, let's move on. Any questions regarding the characters, any relationship that is not clear, please ask me right now. I hope everything is clear. Okay. Okay. Now see, let's answer these little questions here. Portia took the ring from her dash. Now Portia took the ring from her. Okay, so Hamza Mustafa, can you answer me? Portia took the ring from her pocket or bag. Where did she take the ring out from? Hamza Mustafa, can you answer me? Hamza Mustafa, can you please answer me? Not from the pocket, she took it from the bag, beta. Yes, Falia, you are right. She took it from the bag and told Antonio to give it to Bassanio. Bassanio looked at it and was dashed to see that it was the one he had dashed. Now he was surprised and Bassanio was surprised or Bassanio was angry. Yes, Falia, can you answer me? Yeah, okay, he was surprised. You are right, Faleha. Okay, Sheikh Muhammad Zaid, can you answer me the another one? He had lost it or he had given it away? He had lost it or he had given it away? He had given it away, okay? He hasn't lost it. Yes, Alicia Junaid, you are right. Okay, now let's read on. Portia then showed her dash the letter from Dr. Bilario, showed her brother or husband, and definitely her brother is not in the play as well, so it's definitely her husband. And so he dashed that the clever dash was his dash. So who's going to answer this one? Okay, Ali, Muniba, are you there? Muniba Zubair, can you answer me? Yes, Muniba Zubair, can you answer me? Okay, Iman, that's right. Muniba Zubair, can you answer me? Portia then showed a dashed. Okay, that was the brother doctor. And so he dashed, discovered or remembered that the clever. He discovered. Very good. He discovered that the clever dash was really his dash. That the clever doctor or lawyer. That the clever. Definitely, there is no need for a doctor here. So why would we need a doctor? Do we need a doctor? No, we need a lawyer. Right, you're right. Okay, good, Alicia. Thank you. Okay, and then can we have Anas Ahmad? Anas Ahmad, can you answer me? Was really his wife or sister? Was really who? Was really his wife or sister? His Anas Ahmad, thank you for your answer. That was his wife. Okay, and finally the last one. He realized that her dash and cleverness, that her beauty or her courage. Now she was beautiful and courageous at the same time, Portia. But which quality of her are we talking about right now? Whether it was her beauty or whether it was the courage? What was it? Yes, it was the courage and cleverness that had saved the money or life of her dear friend. Now, definitely both. He had both. Antonio had money and life both. But what was saved? The life. Very good, children. He was dash. He was very sad or delighted about it. Now, who is this he? First of all, he is Antonio or Bassanio. It is Bassanio. Okay, and Bassanio was very sad or delighted. He was delighted. Okay, so we have completed the whole chapter again. We have just one last minute. If you people have any question, ask me. Because after this lesson, around 12, around 11:30, I'll be uploading your monthly test. So I want you to be able to do now very well because I have just given you a very big summary of the whole chapter. I couldn't explain it much better than this. So I think everything should be clear by now. And those of you who have taken the class today, this is definitely a positive point for you that now you have the whole chapter in front of your eyes and it will be very easy for you to attempt the monthly test. Trust me. And those who have missed today's class, they might have a problem. Okay, students, thank you very much for your time. Allah Hafiz. Take care of yourselves. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.